The level of intimacy, I think it's important to show your children the type of relationship you have.
Catch more of this every Monday to Friday at 9 p.m.
Broadcasting from the heart of Kampala.
Good morning, family.
Welcome to Good Morning Family. Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
A very warm welcome to Issues at Hand this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of Church of Uganda Family TV. And as you can hear it, we are family. We are always glad to have you here every morning. Now, in case you were stepping out and was worried about the rain, it is over and you can now put on your shoes and get to work. To start the new week, the 16th of October 2023, the year is fast spent and we have about 3 to 4 months to go. And of course, if you have made certain goals for this year and they haven't come to pass, take heart, because we still have 3 months where you can change your life for the better and where God can step in and of course give you miracles here and there. Remember, we are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best. They do have a variety of services that you can go and get yourself of course acquainted with. They do have a swimming pool, they have a health club with a gym and a spa where you can go and refresh your body and your mind. And then they do have a reception. They host receptions for parties, different parties like baby showers, engagement parties, weddings, anything that you can think of. They also host conferences and they do have very nice accommodation that you can do sleeping with your friends and family. Check them out. In the heart of Entebbe is where they are located, and for reservations you can call the numbers running on your screen currently. Now, my name is Nowamani and we will get into the discussion. However, before I do that, I'd like to tell you about a trending story that is of Jimmy Akena being ousted as UPC president, and he is no longer UPC president. A panel of judges from the High Court decided that he will no longer be party president of UPC, and elections are about to be in place to elect a new leader for the party. Now, of course, let's get into our discussion today. We are talking about teenage pregnancies, something that has been a problem to our society and is increasingly becoming a challenge to our society, to families, to girls themselves, but also to our future generation, because the future is getting spoiled by this particular vice. And remember, during COVID-19 is when this scourge increased, and of course we were seeing a lot of teenage pregnancies, especially from the villages. I'm talking about out of Kampala, maybe in the north, in the eastern parts of Kampala, of Uganda, but also in the western parts of Uganda. And we were wondering, as the media, what do we do to solve this problem? It is to bring you some of these guests, experts in the field, to tell us exactly how to go about it as a society, as a community, but also as a country. In studio today is Miss Anne Kukundakwe, and she's a senior program officer for Center for Health, Human Rights and Development. You're very welcome to studio this morning, Anne.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Let me start with a very simple question. For a girl child, what is that one thing that a girl child is supposed to know as they grow up, as they get to their adolescent stages? What is the important thing that a girl child must know?
The girl child must have information, first of all, about themselves, about the community they live in, about their own bodies, and also the opportunities and the dangers that society or communities where they are living have to offer. And in the long run, this will enable them to realize their full potential as girl children.
Okay. So you can say hi to the viewers. I forgot to do that. You can say hello to the viewers.
It's a very good morning, chilly good morning. We hope you had a pleasant weekend, and it's my greatest pleasure to be here to speak about an issue that I'm very passionate about, and that also has continuously to become a problem, and we keep having seasons in and out where it's trending and making news, and other times when we actually move on from it. And my prayer and request is that let's not ignore it. The same way we are not ignoring many things. At least in about a week, you hear someone complain about the potholes of Kampala.
That's true.
And complain about how money is scarce. But we are not talking about the very many cases of teenage pregnancy that rob the girls their future and their ability to fulfill and realize their dreams. Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the discussion of the day. Now, Ugandan lawmakers rejected a government proposal to allow 15-year-olds access birth control pills to reduce high levels of pregnancy. Like I've been telling you, the levels are shooting through the roof, and of course we are worried and therefore looking for what to do. Now, of course, Primary Healthcare Minister Margaret Muhanga said the proposal had not been approved by the government but had been made by a senior medical officer, Dr. Charles Olaro, and it is believed that it was made out of context. His words were misunderstood by the media, by the public, by the society, by government itself, and so we're wondering, what can you clarify on this issue, particularly the issue of 15-year-olds accessing birth control pills and contraceptives, what can you tell us about the issue?
Thank you so much. Allow me to start from the point of saying that, from a point of clarifying that the policymaker was quoted out of context, and as we delve into the conversation, we are going to be talking about the different roles that we all have to play, and in here maybe the media will come in handy in making sure that we accurately or correctly report. Just to make this clarification, that Dr. Charles Olaro, the person that was quoted in the article to have said that government was working on a policy, was quoted out of context. By the virtue of my work, I work closely with the Ministry of Health, and I know for sure that there is no policy, either passed or under development or within plan, that is going to promote or talk about the usage of contraceptives by 15-year-olds. So it was quoted out of context. I know all policy frameworks that both have been passed, but also the policymaker in his detailed speech, he actually talked about, he recognizes the age of consent to both sex and services. So it's important that we clarify to say that government or Ministry of Health, and I'm speaking as a partner that closely works with them, that has no plans, have not passed a policy or have no policy. Even the policy procedures that are being the government directive via the cabinet that has been issued to them does not permit or allow that 15-year-olds access contraception. However, they have programs that they're implementing aimed at reducing teenage pregnancy, and as we delve into the conversation, some of them will be coming to light.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's start from the grassroots. People say, or it is said, that the smallest unit of a society is a family, a home. Yeah. So what is the role of the parent in the life of a girl child? And how is the parent supposed to bring up a child? Because now we are being reported all over media. Yeah. Because I was reading in the BBC and they were saying Uganda is a country that is deeply connected to God. So as a society where we cannot choose those other methods of controlling birth pregnancy, and we have abstinence as the only choice, what is the role of a parent then in the life of a girl child?
Before we reach to the role of the parent, and allow me start from the point of abstinence and even the whole conversation on contraception. Yes. Uganda is one of has one of the youngest populations in the world. And one thing we have to know that this young population that is comprised of young people, both boys and girls, is not homogeneous. It is, and in layman language they will say it's not a one size fits all. And if you start programming or you start having a conversation thinking that nearly half of this population is actually homogeneous, that's where we'll get wrong. Within our society or within these young people, we know that there are young people who are differently, for example, abled, and these young people with disabilities usually are prone of sexual violence cases. They will be defiled, they will be raped because they are already disadvantaged by how they are, their body stature and everything, that they are not unable to defend themselves. And also the police crime report of 2022 actually highlighted that over 13,000 cases were child-related offenses, and of those, over 800 and 460 cases were cases resulting from defilement. So can we start this conversation from home? And who are the people who are defiling our children? Because a defilement case is a case where a person involved in the sexual activity is actually below the age of 18 years, according to the laws of this country. And we know that we have actually seen that the people who defile our children are people who are already adults. These people are adults, and some of these double as family members. It's either a father, an uncle, a brother. Now these days we are seeing cases where there's a lot of incest, and this is happening across siblings. So for me, before we even talk about a young person who is already disadvantaged, they are disempowered, they are not able to make a decision, can we start from the point of where the morality should start from? Can we start from the point of why are adults defiling, abusing children who they should be protecting? And we know that I've once gotten shocked in this country that we woke up to a newspaper headline that was talking about over 200 cases of defilement of children, and these were committed by fathers against their own children. Where are fathers? Are they part of the family? So we need to start from the fact of this family, and the laws that we need to even stop talking about. Our issue or our point of divergence should not be from the fact that all young people want to access contraception. We want to acknowledge that young people are getting pregnant, and majority of the cases where they're getting pregnant, their first sexual encounter is as a result of a human rights violation. And this person is violated by a person who is supposed to actually protect them. So we need to start from that place and to say that maybe can we even strengthen laws and put stronger laws on people who defile, who abuse children sexually, such that we don't even start from that place of saying, oh, young people are refusing to abstain. To say, or young people are actually refusing to abstain, or young people are using a lot of phones and getting access to information they're not supposed to be accessing, because we have to acknowledge that most of these young people, even when they want to abstain, having sex is not a decision that they make on their own. They're actually rather forced into it. So the role of the family then comes in. Can the family protect the children they are entrusted to by either society or by God? That if you given birth a child to a child, what is attractive over them? Why is a 14-year-old looking attractive to a father, an uncle? Why are you getting attracted to that child and actually robbing them of the future? And then from there, society will shift and start blaming this girl child and say, this girl child should have actually abstained. When she gets pregnant and she wants to go back to school, will come out and say, no, she's going to be a bad example to other girls who are already in school, and will therefore deny her an opportunity to go back to school and study. But who put her in that place? Who is making her the bad example? Is it herself or the person who actually sexually assaulted or failed to protect them? But also, the family needs to be supported in terms of giving them information. Our families knowing what they are expected of. For example, if you're talking about parenting, most of the people, and now you can imagine a young girl who gets pregnant, gives when she's below 18 years, she gives birth to a child. Already she has started a family. She has a family of her and maybe a child. But sometimes they have a boy responsible who is actually part of the family. If that person, do you think they have the capacity to even parent? Because they are children themselves, So we need to start a conversation from where the right is supposed to be. The expectations that we have on the girl, can they start with a family? And can we have strong laws that hold families accountable for failing to protect protecting children. Yeah.
Thank you. And of course, we remember just last week a report from Western Uganda, Kasese district. We ran the story here, and some of these girls, when they report to police, or even their parents, when they report to police, police goes ahead to say, no, you sort the issue amicably between the family of the person that raped these girls or got them pregnant and the family of the girl child. So do we have weak laws in Uganda? What can we do to solve this challenge of, you understand, like there's a lot of issues with police not solving these issues. Even when you report to them, there's nothing they do about it. They just tell you go and sort it with the family. Is that really what police is supposed to do?
And I think you raise a very pertinent issue. At the Center for Health, Human Rights and Development, a research and advocacy organization that works towards the justiciability of the right to health, where I work, we run a legal aid clinic. And what do we see in this legal aid clinic? And this legal aid clinic, most of the cases that we actually receive are sexual and gender-based violence related cases. And most of these people actually are children. And in our role in an effort to make sure that they actually get justice and we hold those people who have abused them accountable, we of course decide to pursue the legal journey and go into court and everything. And this is what we have seen, is that because some families will actually go to police to negotiate, to say, this person, my child, yes, they defiled my child, I cannot undo that harm. Can we please make sure that can you allow me negotiate that this person maybe gives me 500 or gives me 1 million shillings? And we have seen that happen. And so what is the cause there? The cause is not police has failed to play their role, yes, but also can we address the issue of poverty? Whereby parents are not looking at that because my child has been abused or violated or made pregnant. It's an opportunity for me to actually either get money or get property, and because of those things. Because we have also had cases where police is frustrated to say, I would want to pursue this case. But what happens is, first of all, the child will come, when they report, the parents lie about their child's age. They say, my child is above 18 years. And when we say that the child is above 18 years, it is understood that actually there was a consent agreed to before the sexual activity. We have also seen cases where the family goes with it, the family that of the girl goes to police and says for them they are no longer interested in the case because they want to negotiate outside court or outside the whole police structure. So I'm not saying that police does not have weakness. We also have seen cases where police is actually involved in sexually abusing these children. We have cases like that. We also have cases where the family of the man, the abuser, sexual abuser's family goes and actually pays police, and police, they decide to either hide the file or frustrate that case. So we need to look at this issue holistically, from the point where the parents are poor, that they are negotiating, they are thinking this is an opportunity for them to get small money, but also to the point of the fact that police, maybe because they are also not very well paid, or maybe because they are not, maybe also they are compromised along the way, they have not played their role. So of course it's disappointing for a police officer to sabotage a case of a person who has actually, a child who has actually been sexually abused. And then also at that point, sometimes police will ask for money to register some cases, or there's a form they provide survivors of gender-based violence for them to be able to access services. And sometimes they will start asking, bring 10,000 or 20,000, and this family may be surviving on less than $1 per day. 10,000 is such a huge privilege, so they will prefer to actually go. So whatever approach that we're having is holistic, where everybody is actually playing their role, and everybody is holding the highest moral standard that we are actually imposing on these girls, because it is immoral to lie, to lack integrity, to say, okay, give me 10,000, I give you, when you should actually be providing this form for free. It's also lack of integrity for you to play with a file of a person you don't even if the person has been actually exposed to HIV or even gotten pregnant at the very least. And you're playing with a family and with a file, and you're sabotaging them because you've been given a 10,000. So it's a holistic issue, and I always say that you cannot hold people accountable over something we cannot do. let's make sure that we look at morality from all across. It is immoral to lie, it is immoral to defile, it is immoral to to be dishonest, and all those things will make sure that we are having all a better society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Now there's also this problem. Maybe I'll term it like this. How can we shift society's minds, especially those that are in rural areas and the countryside mostly? How can we shift their minds from the African traditional society thinking of a girl must get married early? Some of them are still believing that you should send off your girl as early as 14, 13 to marriage, that the person is ready, especially fathers who want to get something from them, maybe cows or money from these girls. How can we change society's thinking towards that perspective?
I think the changing of the mindset starts from the point that, from a point that I just made. Demoralizing it, making it a moral issue, that it is wrong for a child to get married, even start a family, because their bodies are not ready. These girls need to be in school and study and get a future. That now education is very critical and important, and then and also treating these young people as a case by case. I always say, I am a Christian, and I always say that if a girl who is already 15 years has already gotten pregnant, chances are that if this young person is not supported properly, they will have a repeat pregnancy.
Oh.
Yeah. And we have studies, we have researches that have actually indicated that so in cases where a girl has already gotten pregnant at that age, what do we need to do? Researchers are showing that making girls stay longer in school is a deterrent measure, and we proved this during COVID-19, that when the moment girls were home for 2 years, the cases of teenage pregnancy became everywhere. Everybody was reporting the cases of sexual violence. So that one showed us that schools were a protective, we are protecting children after all. So if a young person has gotten pregnant and they're at the age of 15 and they've given birth, can we give them an opportunity to go back to school? And Ministry of Education has passed guidelines on management of teenage pregnancies and child marriage in school settings in Uganda. Of course, they need to look at a question of preparing schools to be ready to receive these girls. But I know that religious leaders had a challenge with these ones. Can we come to a consensus to say that we all agree it is unfortunate that this girl has gotten pregnant? It is even not her fault, because we have seen that most of these pregnancies are a result of sexual violence. Can we actually give these girls an opportunity to go to school as a way of making sure that they don't get pregnant again? And again, if such a person already, sometimes there's what we call emancipated minors, and these emancipated minors are looking in school and out of school, and they are working in bars, they are working in very dangerous places. If such a person has gotten out of school and they walk into a facility, can we be flexible that such a person is actually allowed to access a contraception?
Okay.
Yeah, so let's treat a case by case. Young abstinence is good. I am all for abstinence, but it does not work for everybody, given the cases or the few scenarios that have actually pointed out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what remedies then can we look at in an effort to prevent these teenage pregnancies?
I think the remedy needs to start off knowing that this is not just a girl issue, but looking at knowing that this is a holistic issue, a multisectoral issue, and therefore we need holistic approaches for us to be able to address it. And I will highlight, for example, a case in point. It is important that all of us, when we acknowledge that it is all our role, everybody is going to play their role. The media, for example, will amplify and escalate cases of sexual violence that are not being paid to attention. And for our members of parliament, they will use that information that has come through the media, that is actually they will use that information, they will use the evidence that is coming from researches done by maybe academia or civil society organizations to make sure that they make responsive laws that are actually aimed at protecting these girls from these teenage pregnancies. And then we also talk about families, emphasizing emphasizing the role of family to say that it's an embarrassment, it's shameful for a girl to get pregnant and the person responsible is a brother, is an uncle, is a father, it's a grandfather. It's an embarrassing. There's nothing more about it, and we should condemn it with all means. So making sure that everybody understands their role. For a police officer, if you sit on a file of a 15-year-old that has been sexually abused and you have children who are within that age, imagine if someone did it to your child. So knowing that it's all our role to support and contribute to that, but also popularizing programs that government has already done. The Polish development model that is aimed at eradicating poverty and everything, because most of these girls, you've seen, I'm sure you saw a story in Kasese where girls were exchanging sex for a sanitary pad. A pad is 3,000, the bare minimum. You can imagine a young person contracting HIV, getting pregnant before their age, and because they were questing or they were looking for 3,000 to enable them menstruate with dignity. So we need to look at all those approaches. Government has passed laws and policy, has passed policies that we need to, for example, pay attention to and all support. I know we have divergent views on sexuality education, but evidence and research shows that if a young person is given sexuality education, is given information, they will be in better place to make informed decisions. They will be in charge of their bodies. They will have bodily autonomy to say, you cannot touch me inappropriately. A teacher, you cannot rape me. You're not supposed to see me undress or dress, and all those things. But also for some of them, they get pregnant because of peer pressure, and the peer pressure is coming from a place of misinformation. So as the breasts start developing for a girl, they think, it is actually cool to have a boyfriend. Can we make sure that we allow the implementation of the National Sexuality Education Framework as a remedy that is going to protect our children? Can we make sure that other policies that the government has passed or is developing that protect the sanctity of children are actually supported, are finalized, fast-tracked, and implemented?
Okay. Thank you so much. Now, you mentioned something that in Kasese people were exchanging pads for
young girls. Yes.
Young girls. And is this? I want you to agree with me that this society is upside down, because government hospitals, Miss Kukundakwe, give out condoms for free. Okay. But you have to buy a pad for 3,000 shillings. Don't you think it should be the other way around? Because we have girls doing all sorts of things to get these pads. And also the issue of, let me combine the two and then see what you have to say about them. The issue of parents these days leaving their children with housemates. So then the housemates begin to teach these children what they know. And in the end, you find that the girl child is following what the housemate has taught them. And then that is how pregnancies come about. What do you have to say about these two issues?
On the issue of condoms should be for sale and sanitary pads should be for free. That's the point that you're trying to make. As a programmer and as a sexual reproductive health and rights programmer, I know that we cannot trade the two again. But I agree that condoms should be made, condoms, which health commodities, including condoms, should be made accessible, affordable, and so that we facilitate usability. Okay. But if we are providing condoms for free, it's a disservice to the HIV programming for us to say, let's now put them for sale, because we know that as a country we also struggled with HIV. We know how much tremendous progress with the leadership of Uganda AIDS Commission and the President, how much progress we have made towards this. We have seen churches step in and campaign against HIV, and that is commendable. We cannot compromise about that, but maybe also making sure that we have girls access sanitary pads to menstruate with dignity without them having to exchange their bodies. So can we have all these health commodities available and for free? The President has once in his campaigning, I don't remember whether it was 2016, when he was campaigning, he actually pledged that he was going to provide sanitary pads and free scholastic materials to young people. Girls, can we make this commitment, can we fast track this commitment, make sure that it is actually realized? Because also, if we talk about girls menstruating, also if people are not, contribute affording or accessing condoms, these same girls will be at risk of getting pregnant again, but also will be at risk of contracting HIV. Yeah. So one cannot be compromised for another, but rather doing striking a balance to make sure that all these health commodities, because the right to health is a right, and irrespective of your socio-economic status, irrespective of where you live, whether you're a refugee or not, and this should not be compromised. So we should look at attaining the right to health in its all, in its fullness, without choosing one element over the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the issue of parents leaving their children.
The parents leaving, it's a double-edged sword. I'm not a parent yet, but this is my schedule. I left my home where I live at 6 a.m. And maybe I came I 6 a.m. In most cases, or my routine is that maybe I will go back home around 7 or 6, given the traffic or how much by the time. And I don't have a child yet. Now imagine if I had a child by that time at 6 a.m. I had to leave and be able to be here by 8:30. That I was told, the program starts at 8:30, and you know how much traffic and what happens when it actually rains. Yeah. So in most cases, but it may not be. I am not campaigning for maids taking over the role of parents, but I'm looking at, we need to also be realistic about some of the things that we're proposing. This same child needs to go to school, needs to access healthcare, and it is the same parent who's going out to actually look for the money to be able to achieve that. Yeah. So, but if we have a holistic program where even this young person, because the young people are going to spend nearly half of their time at school, can we make sure that when they go at school, they have the correct information? The parent comes and supplements the information in the evening or over the weekend. And when the maid or any other person comes with misinformation, they will tell them, no, the teacher said this is not right.
It's the schools now to be.
We need, and that's where we started from, the conversation of sexuality education framework. We need to accept it to be implemented, because young people are spending nearly half of their lives in school. So let them have the information. And we have even tried this at home. When a parent, if anyone else, if a teacher says anything, the children take it as if it's correct. Yeah. It's always right. They'll say, teacher said. The teacher said. Can it be that the teacher said, that this person is saying, the teacher said it's inappropriate for you to touch me. The teacher said I have to, I have to delay sex. The teacher said, can we make that? And for the teacher to be able to make that, we need the sexuality education framework implemented in schools, so that now the teachers have a tool, they have something guiding them, and the Ministry of Education has helped us. They have something that is guiding them on what information they are giving out, to what age, because also the framework is calling for age-appropriate and culturally sensitive information, and that right information is in that framework.
Thank you so much. We are still discussing teenage pregnancies and how to solve them, and of course how to get a solution that will last a lifetime. But we are going to take a very short break and return. I'm still with Miss Kukundakwe Ann, and she's taking us through the discussion. We are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. My name is Carol. We'll be right back.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
abantu bwe bafa babeera
When people
balungi
die, they are good.
abadde
A
mulungi
dead body is always good.
atukoze bulungi
He has done us good.
tazikawo
We cannot replace
tewali
him.
atazikawo
There's no one who is replaceable.
tewali
There's no one.
naye ekiyinza okuyamba
But what can help you?
kwe kukola omukulula
It
omulungi
is to leave a good legacy
nti bali kujjukira
that people will remember you.
Sometimes I share with my students a small story of an animal which normally is regarded to be the wisest, the hare. Once in a meeting of animals chaired by the lion, which was the king of the animals, he said that all those who are in the meeting and are not married should go out. This is for the marrieds. And then the hare put up a hand. I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Yes. What is it? He said, what about some of us who sleep like married people? Should we also go?
And may I say to those of you who are not yet married, determine what kind of family you want to raise. Because the family that you raise, the children that you get, you will either sink them or you will raise them up to be good citizens and good people in the church.
If you read Proverbs 16:1, they tell you that the plans of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord.
Because we all need love. As long as we are humans, we need love. Now he says yes, but I'm praying that you will experience the greater love.
Broadcasting from the heart of Kampala.
Good morning, family.
Welcome to Good Morning Family. Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
You're welcome back to Issues at Hand. We are still discussing the issue of pregnancies among teenagers. Now, of course, we have talked about a number of issues, including the causes, clarity on the issue of government saying the 15-year-old girls should be given contraceptives, as well as the effects. And of course, we're going to look at exactly what to do and how this impacts society and the future. Where do we see this issue 10 years from now? Because we are seeing it escalating in the countryside, especially the east, the north, everywhere in the countryside. But what do we do to solve it? Who are the stakeholders when it comes to teenage pregnancies, and exactly how do we solve them? From the Center for Health, Human Rights and Development, I have Miss Kukundakwe and she's taking us through the conversation. We are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott. As you can see on your screens, they have a lot of services for you. They are located in the heart of Entebbe, and make sure you check them out and get the services you might need from them. Continuing with the conversation, my first question would be the Center for Health, Human Rights and Development. What do they do? And take us through the work of the Center for Health and Human Rights and Development.
I think we do a lot of work, and allow me just give you a big picture overview. Is that Center for Health, Human Rights and Development, also called CEHUED, we maybe say leading advocacy and research organization, a civil society organization based in Uganda that works towards the justiciability of the right to health in Uganda, East Africa and beyond. So everything on the right to health is our business. And so we do this work using a number of approaches. We do through campaigns, partnerships and networks. And in that way, that's where we do robust advocacy, where we engage with policy makers to make sure that we actually have laws and policies that enhance and support the right to health. Then we have community, because we know that we know that for sure that societies are societies because they have communities, and the communities where the family actually emanates and where it is. So we work a lot with communities, and here we work towards empowering them for them to be able to demand for their right to health, but also to report the right to violations, especially those related to the right to health. Then we do strategic litigation. I think for most that's a name we have made. Most people know us as people that sue all the time. CEHUED has sued government over this, has sued so and so. So the strategic litigation, first of all, it is divided into two. We look at strategic cases, and these cases usually are public interest cases, cases where we are acting on behalf of the public to make sure to speak out a violation or to speak about an injustice issue that has actually come from. And there are very many cases where we have actually gone to court on behalf of communities, on behalf of grieved families, where families have actually lost babies, and we have gotten involved, where families have their patients detained in health facilities because they are not able to pay the hefty hospital bills, and we have come in to make sure that those the families get justice, but also the hospital is able to understand that their health facilities are not detention centers. And then the other part is that we run a fully fledged legal aid clinic, and the legal aid clinic looks at delivering justice to the most vulnerable and the most disadvantaged. And in this legal aid clinic, again, the cases that we focus on or pay attention to is that we these sexual gender and gender-based related cases. And with this, we provide free legal aid services to these families or these people. We recently launched a legal aid fund, where we are calling out the public to actually make a contribution and to make a contribution towards supporting these young people and these people, because most times they will need a lawyer, they will need to go to a hospital to access health care, they will need psychosocial support, because some of those cases are very traumatic, that a person who has gone through them, they actually need proper professional counseling. So, and that's where we actually that's the other work that we do. So in a nutshell, that's the work that we do in the brief minutes that we have.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Okay, so let's move on with the discussion. We've already looked at the role of families, the role of schools, the role of society. So now the role of men in these pregnancies, because girls do not get themselves pregnant. So it has to be a man out there that is doing these things. So what is the role of men in this whole issue?
And I think I earlier noted that our programming needs to be holistic, and holistic means it's leaving no stakeholder behind. The men, behind every pregnancy, there is a man. And sometimes, of course, there are cases where the man is of the same age with a girl pregnant, but also there are cases where the man is just an immoral person, decides to rape and defile. It is that one, we don't even compromise about it. It is immoral. It's bad manners to rape and defile a child if you're a man. But what do we need to do is that we need to bring on board these men as partners. We need to bring them right from our programming. How do they know? Let them not think, let's not feminize sexual reproductive health. Let's not feminize pregnancy to say, that's the girl who is pregnant, it's her problem. The girl is pregnant because she's unfortunate, she's disadvantaged to carry the evidence of that sex. But where is the man that actually made them pregnant? So making sure that the men are onboarded. For example, in programming, to make sure that they appreciate, to know that it is their role, their duty to make sure that they don't rip the girls of their potential by making them pregnant before they are of age. But most of them, we have cases also where men actually rape, beat, they are actually beating girls or beating women. So we also have to bring them on board to know that gender-based violence that is being inflicted by men is actually also dealt with. Sometimes men should actually part with money. We have men who are fathers, and we have very many cases where girls get pregnant and the fathers chase them out of home and to say, can you please go and be with whoever made you pregnant? Now, as a man, as a father, we need you to play a better role to say, this child has gotten out to has become pregnant, you're disappointed, but how do you support them? To make sure that they actually get back on course, successfully give birth, maybe go back to school, give them shelter, because in most cases these girls are just to go and live on the street without shelter. They have nothing to start with, and therefore you're actually exposing them to more danger. So the role of men in reducing teenage pregnancy cannot be underestimated. Number one, as people that manage the resources in most times, as people that are part of the problem, abusing, but also other men who are in policy making spaces. This is a call to you. Can you please leverage on evidence and available data to actually make laws and policies that actually support, enhance the girl's potential and prevent pregnancy at the end of it all?
Thank you. So now let's move to the role of the church, because as I earlier mentioned, Uganda is a nation of the Lord. Even in our motto, it says, for God and my country. So what is the role of the church in countering teenage pregnancies?
I think that the church is a critical pillar of any society, and I think as you rightly stated it, and we need the church to actually first of all, you have a platform where you speak to parents, where you speak to some of these teachers that are in your churches, are part of the congregation. Can we actually make sure that we utilize our platforms, to speak to our congregation about the dangers of early sex to children, but also about the dangers of teenage pregnancy and what their role is in preventing the same. And also some of the churches actually have media platforms like this very one, the Church of Uganda. Can we use our platforms to actually decampaign social evils, and these include rape, defilement, child marriages? Can we stop as church, as maybe religious institutions, even beyond the church, can we not agree to preside over a child marriage? And I know most churches, they will ask for a birth certificate to ascertain age, they will ask for consent, but we know that in some of our religious institutions, those are not requirements. So can we make sure that we actually refuse to preside over marriages like that? And I always tell the church that if I was the church leader, I would not want to preside over a poor congregation. And how does a poor congregation come? A poor congregation comes when children are giving birth to children, they are not educated, they don't have employable skills, they have no job, and they come to church and they are spending all their time there, and they are looking for bread to put on the table. I wouldn't want to preside over the church. So can we also bring about programs within the church that empower, girls, that have gotten pregnant, in that case. And I also know that in this country, 70% of the schools are owned by the church, church-based or church foundation. I also know that there are churches, for example, that like the Uganda Protestant Bureau, that have health facilities. Can we utilize these institutions? The schools, can we allow our schools to implement the sexuality education framework? And it has no harm, it has no danger, it's only giving information for them to be able, for the young girls to be able to make informed decisions, but also making sure that we equip the teachers with the information to trust those, to tell the girls to prevent a teenage pregnancy. And then also the Ministry of Education have passed the guidelines on management of teenage pregnancies and child marriages, and we know that we have divergent views of our colleagues from religious institutions saying they shall not be implemented in our schools. Can we revisit that thought to say this girl has already gotten pregnant? Maybe it was not her fault that she got pregnant, but how do we make sure that we redeem her future? We don't judge her, we don't put her in a more disadvantaged place by allowing her to get to school. Can we give the people a second chance? Can we give girls a second chance to make sure that they are able to get their education? Can we counsel the boys that are in our custody to tell them it is bad bad manners to rape, it is bad manners to defile, it is bad manners to engage in early sexual activity, but also be flexible to make sure that we are open to conversations with other stakeholders to make sure that we protect and preserve our society, because the young people who enable us to reach Vision 2040 are here getting pregnant. How do we preserve them? Yeah.
Thank you. And of course, you have given us a very beautiful insight in this issue. And maybe please give us your last words, because we're coming to the end of the show.
My last words is to say that we are working together and all individuals, all institutions, to make sure that we uphold the future of the girl children, and we are not leaving the boys around behind. As we do our programming, let's involve them. Let's support government programs and policies, that especially those aimed at eliminating teenage pregnancies and child marriages. Everybody, irrespective of wherever you are, whether you are a border rider, whether you are a businessman, let us all work together to make sure that we have a multi-sectoral approach aimed at holistically addressing the challenge of teenage pregnancies and teenage pregnancies and child marriages.
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Anne Kukundakwe.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Okay. We hope we'll have you another time, because there's still a lot of information that you have to give us. But you have been a very beautiful guest, and also our viewers have been a very beautiful audience. Thank you so much for following on social media, and also for being on your television watching Issues at Hand. It has been practical measures on how to combat or counter teenage pregnancies, and I hope you've learned a thing or two. My name is Carol, and I will be here tomorrow, same time, same station. Thank you so much for following. Good morning. Have a blessed day.
The views expressed on this show are not necessarily those of this television or its management, but as of individuals as we hear them. Issues at Hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and